I was disengaged at one point, and the language is what brought me back. People to engage with their language and their culture and their history, where everyone can come together and reconnect with their language. Because I didn't feel Samoan enough. There's a lot of people that feel that they have that feeling right now. There were people that felt like that. So and that's what that's sort of my mission, is to bring people back through the language. And there's don't even have to be Samoan. It could be whatever language.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Nation News. Our mission is to connect and inspire our Islander community by sharing Islander success stories with everyone. So stay tuned for the full episode. I got William Fanene on the show today. He's probably the biggest Samoan language influencer you've ever seen because he blew up on Instagram after The Rock commented on his stuff, and we'll get into that later. Like 55,000 followers on there alone, but then over on TikTok got like 200,000 plus, and 4 million likes on TikTok. So this guy, he's a legit guy, and I'm happy we connected. Happy to have you on the show, bro.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the invite.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think to start off, where did you grow up, and what were the role models, and how did your culture kind of shape you as you were going through life?
Well, I was a military kid, so I grew up like everywhere. Germany, Hawaii, California, the Midwest, down to like everywhere. Literally, we grew up. We moved every other year or so, and then my parents, both of them were in the military, and then they divorced. So then we were picking who we were gonna stay with. And then when like the wars in Iraq and Saudi Arabia and all of that popped off, and down in Central America, and like they were always gone. They were infantry, so we always moved around. And but most of the time I stayed with my Samoan family. So we were, Fort Ord, California, which is in Monterey, Seaside, Marina. Spent a lot of time there. Up in Spokane, Washington, just all along there. So I kind of grew up with my Samoan uncles. So I hung around with the older the older Usos and all of that. So those are my influences, and of course my dad. But yeah, I mean, those were the people that I looked up to, and um, I did all of the customary things. I just never picked up the language until later on in life, which was kind of odd, you know.
Yeah, yeah. How did you keep that grounding in the culture when you were moving all over the place? And also, language I think plays a huge role. Because me personally, I went through the same thing where my parents never taught me the language too. And so, how was that for you?
So there were always Samoans around, like because we were military, and like I thought that most of the people in the military were Samoan and Tongans, and like just Polynesian people, period. Just because that's all I was around, you know, and so it was really easy to keep with the culture because I guess I was like first generation born in America, sort of, so they brought all of the culture with them, and we did everything, um, everything was Samoan. So I just felt like I grew up in Samoa, but just all over the world. That's all. So it was really easy to
Uh,
keep up with the culture, but for some reason, like I said, I just never picked the language up until till later.
yeah.
They
And
never
then
spoke
when
it
you
to us.
finally decided, yeah, yeah, exactly. Then when you finally decided to, you know what, I'm gonna actually go in and learn this thing. What was that process like for you in that journey?
Well, I would always collect like resources on the side, and but I never like let people know about it because people, the ones that knew the language would mock you for even trying, which was also kind of weird. But so I you know I would just collect resources, and then over the years, I just started trying to learn, and then I guess in my late 20s, I decided to learn Spanish and Italian, like other languages, Arabic, so that I could get jobs abroad and stuff. And I'm like, wait, I don't even know my own language. Like, I'm not gonna do that. So that's when I really started delving into how to speak Samoan, how to learn the language. And once I figured out that, I put sentence structure and all of that stuff together, and it came together for me, I was like, man, I want to share this. I want to get this out and share it with other people. So and then around that time social media was blowing up. So that was, I say I'll just take it to social media and try to and share it over there. So that
Yeah.
was my process.
Well, even Even at the start of it, because for me, I didn't know Tongan, and so a big motivation for why I wanted to learn was because I didn't feel Tongan enough.
Uh,
So what was the reason why you started even learning the language in the first place?
yeah, well, that was it. That was a big part of the reason I didn't feel Samoan enough. One, I'm half black, so there's another dynamic there. And so sometimes you're shut out of things. Maybe not on purpose. People are not doing it on purpose, but even insecurities, like you'll feel shut out because people treat you a certain kind of way, the microaggressions that people don't never see, but I feel it. So um, as far as like, what was the question was like, why did I want to learn it? Or,
Yeah,
well, I mean, and that was it. I think that would help me. At the time, I already wanted to connect with the language and the culture. And the best way to connect with the culture is through the language, I believe. So that's where I started. I just was like, okay, let me figure this out. But I wanted to do it secretly. And then once I figured it out, then I was like,
oh,
oh, okay, yeah. And now I'll come out and do it. Because like I said, I didn't feel a part. Because I'm half black and half Samoan. Um, I just feel like if you know the language, that gives you more of an in. Not like I was like, okay, I want to be a part of people um, that are treating me bad because I mean, like I said, there's a whole dynamic to that. I don't know if you want to get into all that or not, but if you do know the language, that breaks down, that shuts a lot of people up, you know.
yeah.
Um,
Because what I've seen when I visited Tonga, it was a while back, and I remember going in, had no idea what the language was, but there was this kid, he came up to me, and he starts talking to me. I was so
mhm,
embarrassed because I didn't know the language, and from there, it
yeah,
was like, "Whoa, I wanna learn this thing because not only will it connect with my culture, but I just wanna connect with these people, with everyone else around here," and so that was a
right.
big motivation of why I wanted to go into that. But I do want to explore your unique perspective as Afghasi, or as half black or half Samoan, and so
hmm
what's it like for you trying to balance those 2 identities or trying to fit into one group or the other?
Um, I'm It's really difficult, actually. I mean, now
Yeah,
I know just to be me, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. But the thing is, when you do it in public, like I did this, this word meuli, for example, I did a whole video on that, and I was just gonna leave it there, it actually went viral. It got millions of views, and people. So I had black people, African Americans in particular, and then Samoans going back and forth. So Samoans were like, "It don't mean that. It don't mean this." And I'm just saying how I feel. This is how I felt growing up about that word. As you know, it means black thing, and I didn't see anybody else, any other ethnicity being called the thing. So, and then when you look back at the history, I mean, there's a long narrative for that. But at the end of the day, I didn't don't like the word. I don't like being called that. But I was called that my whole life, even referred to myself as that. So, it's just a natural thing. A lot of Samoans don't think anything about it. It's just a word. But I spoke on it, and then that's where I really saw like, oh, wow. You really need to be careful what you say online because when you're talking about intercultural things, these people over here don't understand the Samoan culture, right? And then you have people in Samoan, they're already divided about the word anyway. So and then me in the middle trying to balance all of that dialogue. It's like, one, it's exhausting. Two, I think it's almost impossible. I'm not a wordsmith or anything like that to be able um, to balance all of that, the conflict that was going on with it. So I guess long story short, it is difficult, trying to be in the middle of that conversation. So if 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 you don't plan it out very well, you can find yourself in some controversy. But for the most part, I think it's best to have those conversations in with Samoans, because or if I'm talking about Black culture, it's best for me to just speak to whoever I'm talking to, as opposed to trying to bring them together, because now it I find that it doesn't mesh, at least with me, because I'm not that skilled at balancing that conversation. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of the hardest parts about this whole social media game and being public with everything. And so when you started your journey, what was running through your mind when you first put out your first piece of content on Samoan language?
oh man, I was really nervous. Actually, so I've been in the background my whole life. Like, be, when did I start doing this? In 2019. Before that, I wanted to get. I was working with a couple of Samoan girls out of New Zealand. Well, the young ladies out of New Zealand, and I wanted them to do all of the work, or all of the camera stuff. I don't like being on camera. I don't like making content or any of that, or with me on it. I'm always really nervous doing that kind of stuff. Even when I teach my classes, I tell them I don't even look at the class because I don't want to see who's over here because my mind just goes somewhere else. But I'm used to being a producer, like being in the back editing, and all of that. So when I made my first piece of content, I was like, to be honest with you, I got drunk. I was drinking, and I was like, wow, okay, I felt okay to do it, but I didn't like the way that I felt like I was at the club trying to make make content, and I was like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to continue to make this up because I'm just not used to doing it. So I really just had to. I practiced a lot making videos, and I had to write out scripts and read from a thing at first, and then after a while, I got comfortable doing it. Um, I mean, it just took a while. It took practice, but this isn't something that I wanted to do. I never like being out in front of people or anything like that. So,
Yeah. What's the do you think the biggest lesson that you've learned as you've been on this social media game and being public with all this stuff?
I guess just be careful what you say. Like, really plan out uh, before you just get on there and say something. Like, for example, I was on a podcast. I won't say the guy's name. Let me know. He's a cool guy. He's actually Tongan. Actually, has a podcast, and we got on there, and it was four guys, and they were talking about like homosexuality, I guess, or why are there why or why are guys gay or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nobody on here is gay. Why are we talking about that? That's not for us to talk about. So I guess that would be one thing. Like if you're gonna get on and get out in public and you're gonna start talking, at least be part of the group that you're talking about. You know what I mean? Because now you can get, I won't say canceled just because you should be able to speak your mind. But if you're not of that section, like why are we here talking? You know what I mean? So I think that's a dangerous area to get into when you're trying to speak. Um I mean, you're really just kind of putting out ignorance, and then you can influence some people if people are looking up to you. So I think they still have it on video where I'm just sitting there like, oh no. I mean, you guys are messing up right now. You guys are tripping. So
No,
and I exited
social
the
media.
conversation not long. Yeah.
Yeah. No, social media is definitely it can be a dangerous thing, and I remember the story that you were telling me before about how you're in the Caribbean and you were getting, like, death threats. Can you tell the story
Oh yeah.
behind that?
Right. So and here's another thing. So I'm not of that culture, right? I just went down there. It was to the Cayman Islands. So I visited the Cayman Islands, my wife and I. And so I just did a review, just like, I just wanted to share my experience. Maybe a month or two later, that video went viral in the Cayman Islands. So it was all over their news, all over their social media. Mind you, I didn't know. So a couple weeks go by, they find me. And then I'm like, why are these people they wanna do what? I didn't even do anything. So they were referring to a video that I completely forgot about. Every day I'll make content. I don't even think about it anymore. A lot of times I don't even go back to revisit the stuff. Well, anyway, I'm looking at my DMs. There are people like, if you ever come back, you're not gonna go home alive. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And so finally, um, one a radio producer or somebody, she wants me to come on an interview. So still, I'm not knowing the magnitude of what's going on. I get on there, there's like hundreds of people, in the chat or whatever, or probably even more than that. I don't even know. Again, like I said, I stopped looking because I was like, okay, I think there's something going on. The prime minister of tourism, or yeah, the prime minister of tourism comes on. He said, if you come back here, we're going to show you a great time. It's free. We're going to fly you down here, all expenses paid, all because I just gave a review online, and I didn't like the place because it was so Americanized, so commercialized, so colonized. So that's what I was saying. I was like, I couldn't even find the culture there, and they got really offended by that. So that's the power of social media. Like I wasn't even thinking about it, but those words like hurt a lot of people. But then there were a lot of people there. They were like on my side. They were like, he didn't tell any lies about it. He said what he felt, and we are of the people here. Um, he wasn't lying. Like, where can you find Canadian food? Like, where can you find the culture? It's all swallowed up in capitalism, which is what I said basically on the thing. And I just had a whole lot of people, some on my side, some were not on my side, and I basically lent my platform to the people that were on my side and said, look, you guys say that you're not being heard. Well, use my platform to say whatever it is that you want to say. And that's when I really got people saying you need to shut up. um the people on the other side, they were like, you need to be quiet, because something's going to happen to you. And so I asked the people that were on, that I was speaking out for. I said, well, if one of y'all don't come forward to speak for yourselves, then I'm going to have to back out, because I'm nobody. I'm just, I didn't even remember making this post. So again, social media is that powerful where you could just not even be trying to do something, and you can have international sort of consequences. And my wife was like, back out right now. Just leave them alone. You know, yeah, after I showed her the thing, she said, that's it. We're done. Or you're done. So I was done. That's like, I left it alone.
Yeah, no, that is so true. It is this powerful thing. You gotta be careful how you use it. But then you also have these kind of cool stories where you connected with The Rock eventually, and you made a whole post on him, and then he responded. And what did you say in the post, and how did that come about?
Let me see. So I think first his mom found me. I really don't know how. Um, he came to start following me. I was honored, of course, but his mom said something at first. I was like, damn, I think this is The Rock's mom. And then so she said something. Then maybe days after, then he followed, and so I ended up making a post about him because there was some controversy going on. Was everybody was blaming The Rock for something. So the post was made like I stubbed my toe and I said, "Oh, The Rock," and I think I lost some money and I said, "Dang it, The Rock," and that's kind of that was my perspective on how people sounded to me, because everything they just blamed The Rock for it. But that wasn't the case. So after I made the video, he responded under there, and it got a lot of people were responding to him. They didn't, um, I don't think they were tripping off too much of what I was saying, but they responded to him responding to me, and then I got all of these followers just from that. And so I'm thankful for to him for that. But I don't message him. I don't do it like, because he might be like, oh, I forgot I followed this guy. Let me unfollow.
Yeah. No, I think because both of those stories, the Cayman Island story and the Rock story, I think they have this common thread of people need to stand up for themselves. Like at some point,
Mhm,
it falls on you to speak for your people, for your culture. And
mhm,
so, like even with the people of the Cayman Islands, like at some point you can give them this whole platform, you can give them all these things, but someone has to step up. Like even with The
right.
Rock, like you can have this person who's kind of the most famous Samoan out there, but it's still
Mhm,
up to you to go out and use your voice as a people. And so what I've seen with Tongans, with Polynesians, is that w- I don't think that we do enough as our people to come together and speak up for ourselves. And that's one of the motivations behind this thing and behind everything else that I'm trying to do. And I think that's kind of what you're after, is like using your platform for good, which I think is amazing. And so
thanks.
what are your plans? Because now you have Mato. Mato is like the Samoan class language thing, and what are your plans for like expansion with like Pacifica Pages and stuff?
Well, so the plan last year was to get like Tongan Fijian, Tahitian, like all of the Pasifika languages together at one spot. So that's where Pasifika Pages came from. Before it was just Mato Samoa, but I was getting messages all and still do. People were like, "Well, do you know anyone that teaches Tongan the way that you teach Samoan?" And all of the Hawaiian, all of the other languages. So I was like, "Well, let me just make, I will give you, basically the blueprint of the way that I do things." So I wanted to connect with other teachers, and so I started doing that, but I wasn't really getting the response. I just wanted people to build their own platforms under Pasifika Pages. So that's where Pasifika Pages comes from. But I still would like for that to happen, but I just started having other things going on, and then plus I wasn't getting the response that I thought I was gonna get based on the demand. So the demand is there, but it's in terms of the people that to teach it and to be dedicated to teaching Tongan, Samoan, Hawaiian, all of the different Pasifika languages. I wasn't seeing that. And I understand people have their own thing, and I wasn't trying to like take away from their thing. I wanted this Pasifika Pages to be a place where they could elevate their own platform. Like just come on over here and just use this platform to elevate your platform. If you want to go somewhere and take your people with you, that's fine. But the goal is to get people to engage with their language and their culture and their history. And I think that we just need if we have a place like that, it doesn't even have to be Pacifica Pages. I don't care where it's at, but somewhere where everyone can come together and reconnect with their language because we're a worldwide diaspora when we're talking about just Pacifica people, period. We're all over the world, we're spread out, and then the places that we go to, they're like small towns. You're always going to be the minority pretty much, unless you're like Carson, California or something like that. But for the most
Like St.
part, you're
Salt Lake, yeah.
right, Salt Lake, yeah, but for the most part, you're gonna be the minority. So, and then when you're there and you are the minority, you don't really know where to look. So, I wanted to be that was my vision for it. Like, I wanted it to be a place where people say, "Oh, well, I just go to Pacifica Pages," just go there. Oh, there's all these other languages, and you can just enroll. The teachers charge whatever they want. They can make it free. I don't care. Just bring people to the language, whatever your respective language, and teach them, so that they can engage with their culture. Like, like you were saying, they engage with their culture through the language. I think I said that, or one of, but we're both thinking it, but
Yeah.
that's the thought behind it. Bring people to the culture through the language. And, and I would always get all of these emails from people that have disengaged because they didn't know the language or they were Afghasi or whatever it was. There was a reason behind the disengagement. So, like I said, people like me, I was disengaged at one point, and the language is what brought me back. So, and that's sort of my mission is to bring people back through the language. And there's don't even have to be someone. It could be whatever language, Pasifika. Just go back to your language, Oh, and your
That's what I'm
culture,
saying
your
is
people.
that no, it's so true. Because for me, I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna start learning Tongan." And then I went and searched online, and it's like the only sources are from 1980s. Like, what the heck? I'm trying to get, like,
Right.
updated stuff on a nice video course on how to actually do this thing, but it's just not out there. Like, for example, there's no Duolingo for Tongan. There's no Duolingo for all these things. I think they're starting to make ones now, but
Yeah.
it's having that resources, like, if there was a Pacifica Pages for all these things, just go there, learn the language. That would be sick, man. So if you're
Yeah.
listening out there, you wanna teach the language or you wanna learn the language, you gotta connect with this guy, man. It's
Yeah.
really cool stuff with Mattel, Samoa, and then Pacifica Pages. It's really cool stuff, and I'm excited to see where it goes for real.
Yeah, it's already set up. You just gotta come here and there's no charge for anything. Just go on there and do your thing. And like I said, I help teach and like I said, well, like I was saying to you, the sentence structure for Pacifica languages are pretty similar. So, I'll show you how I did it. If it applies to your language, then great. But like, I'll do all the back end work. You don't have to worry about any of that. Just teach the language. That's it. So,
Yeah,
um, and a lot of people there, they're
awesome.
like, well, then they just don't believe that I'm doing all of this stuff and I'm not asking them for anything. So I think a lot of people kind of like, well, what's in it for you? It's Pasifika Pages. That's what's in it for me. Just come there and I set it up and you do it. But you do all the work.
With all the people that you've taught over the years, all these different students, and even with yourself, what are the common traits that you find with the people who actually go through and learn the language?
Um, I don't traits. I don't really know. Like people don't. I usually don't find out that how much they learned or how grateful they are for learning or where they're at in their language journey until much later. Like people send me emails that I haven't talked to since 2020 or 2021 or something like that. And so I really don't even keep a gauge on that. I just kind of, and maybe I should do like an evaluation or something. I just after a session, I just kind of say bye, and if you ever want to come back, just come back. It's an open enrollment, so if they enroll one time, they always get invites for the future, which kind of might be a bad thing because some people will drop out in the second week and be like, "Oh, I'll just come back," the next session or something. But I never like it's. I guess to answer the question, I don't really keep up with the benefits or or anything like that.
Yeah.
As long as people are getting help and they say that they got it, then great.
Yeah, no, I think that's true because for me, there were so many times in my life where I was like, you know what, this is the day. And I'll go super hard in learning the language for like a week and then I would just drop off. But now
Yeah,
it's come to actually making it consistently and even if it's just for even if it's just for like 3 minutes or 30 minutes or however long it ends up being, like trying to be consistent with learning the language. And there's also like the sense of urgency because if I don't learn Tongan, I don't graduate because it's part of the requirement I have for graduating. And so a little bit of urgency there, which definitely helps in actually learning the thing. No, I was
yeah,
just curious because yeah, I'm trying to learn too.
yeah. Well, I mean that's the issue. I think with this, there's no like college credit course or anything. It's really how much do you want to do it? How much do you want it? So you have to want it for yourself. And I do think that that might be an issue with Mato is that they can always come back. So which is a good thing, but then the bad part is if you don't really want it like that, then you're not gonna stick out the whole 8 weeks. You're just gonna,
Yeah,
well, I'll come back. It wasn't that much money, $99 for a lifetime, whatever, you know. So
yeah.
it's at the end of the day, it's up to you. You have to want it for yourself. And once I got to that point, then nothing was gonna stop me. And and I got it. I mean, it took 30 something years. I made it.
There you go. There you that's the dream. That's the dream. We're all trying to learn the language.
Yeah.
So in closing, there's this question that I ask everyone who comes on the show, and if you could put up a sign, and this sign goes up on every Polynesian Pacific Islander house, and every single person, every single Polynesian Islander, they would look at this sign every single day. What would you put on that sign and why?
Um, I guess based off what we were talking about here, you are enough. Like you whatever it is. Like we were saying earlier, didn't feel Tongan enough. I didn't feel Samoan enough. There's a lot of people that feel that they have that feeling right now. There were people that felt like that. So the main reason why I got into sharing this is so that you can feel enough. And the way that I was doing it, or the way that I'm doing it, is through language. So um whether you're Afghasi, whether you're just even there's people that are both parents are Samoan, or maybe both parents are Tongan or whatever, and then you grow up, there's a insecurity that comes with not even knowing your own language, and it's like, man, they're both of them Tongan, both of them Samoan, both, yeah, I still don't got it. You feel a kind of way about that. So the first thing is getting people to realize you are enough. So get over that insecurity and just be part of what it is that you feel that you're missing. Like you feel like you're missing your culture, you feel like you're missing your people or you're missing out some kind of way. You are enough. Now go learn it. But it's up to you. You have to want it for yourself, just like we were saying.
No, it's so true. Cause even for me, like, this imposter syndrome, it feels so heavy, especially at a school like Northwestern. I came out over
Oh
here
yeah.
feeling that hard. It's like, "Oh my goodness, everyone over here are geniuses. I don't belong here. I was here to check off the diversity thing." But then it comes down to that you are enough. Like, I'm out here and Imma just go and grind and use it to the best I can and see where it takes me in the game of life, and so, I'm super excited to see where it takes me. I'm super excited to see where it takes you, Will, and where you take Mattel and Pacific Pages seriously. So if someone's out there, they want to connect, they want to go out there and teach on Pacific Pages, how can they reach out to you?
They can just email at me at matou, so matou, and then ngangang, GAGNA, ngangana, at gmail.com, or they can message me on social media. It takes me a while there because I get so many messages, and a lot of times they filter them into spam if we're not already connected. And then plus, I just don't really read my social media like that. But if they email me at matonganganga at gmail.com, or the one that you have, one William, and then, well, what is my, I forgot that. Whatever one.
Yeah, no
You can
worries.
scratch that
No,
part. I forgot that
we'll
one.
try to put the Mattel Ngana down in the
Uh-huh.
description somewhere so someone can reach out
Okay.
if they wanna become a part of the vision of this big thing that you're building. It's awesome.
Yeah. Also,
Cool.
and
Happy to have you on the
man,
show. Yeah.
yeah, thanks for inviting me. And then really like big ups to you for like Northwestern. That's not a small feat. Like
Thank
that's,
you. I appreciate that.
yeah, yeah, that's big. That's really big. So when we were first connected, I was like, oh wow, like I'm thinking like um but and so you're a student there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm a sophomore out here. It's just learning the
Okay.
ropes out here, trying to fit
Oh
in.
man, that's awesome. Yeah, so and that's another thing, like, a lot of, Samoans, Tongans, when we get into these small towns, it's easy for people to get imposter syndrome because you already think like, "Well, what am I doing here?" Like, what so you before you can even get on anybody else's level, like, you're trying to get over, like, "Am I enough?" Like, just like we were saying, like, "Am I" so that's any town, any city that we go to, when we get picked for something, you're like, "Well, was there a reason for this beside I'm just qualified?" Like, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty, I'm confident. I know that you're there because you got it. You got everything that you need. So I appreciate your
Nah, for real,
platform. I
that's how it
appreciate the
was.
invite.
Especially when you come out here and yeah. Especially when you come out here, like, I first came out here, the only Tongan out here, looking around, trying to
Yeah,
find my people, and so that was one of the things that drew me to do something like this. And why I love Pacifica Pages so much is because it's kinda that building community, which I think is amazing. So, happy to have you on the show, man, and talking your story, sharing it. Really looking forward to seeing what else the journey lies ahead.
yeah. I don't know either. I'm just kind of winging it at this point. So
Me and you,
we'll
bro, me
see.
and you together. Hey, you made it. Thanks for listening to this Islander success story. If you want more of these, head over to Nesian.news. Sign up for our newsletter. We'll send you an email every single time we put an Islander success story out there. And remember, our mission is to connect and inspire Islanders around the world.